let's just jump into the Pelicans as a whole. I know that we'll get into transfer portal with college football. That's something else I want to talk about. For anybody that's sticking around, thank you. Um, but watching the game tonight and other games down the stretch of the couple losses we had there. Fortunately, we turned it around tonight. But why does it feel like we're such a poor rebounding team? And I ask it like that before you answer. I ask it like that. Let me throw some stats at you. We're actually 7th in the NBA in rebounding. So by the numbers, I wouldn't say we're poor. I had to look all this up because I was like, no way. And 9th, if you want the advanced rebounding like percentage stats, we're 9th in rebounding percentage.
Well, where are we at on defensive rebounding?
That's a good question. I didn't look it up because
that's what feels like a struggle to me.
Yeah,
is that the teams are getting so many second chance points, which could be wrong, or maybe it's because it happens at like the most inopportune times. You know what I
agree.
I mean, Jonas is like top. I looked the other day. Jonas is top 15 in rebounds in the league. So I mean, maybe he's just carrying us that much. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, I know Zion gets his rebounds. A lot of them are offensive. It seems like I feel like when I'm watching, I feel and actually AD called attention to this tonight, and I was already thinking I hate when they do it because I'm thinking I'm going to come on the podcast and talk about something nobody else is talking about, and then boom, it's done. It seems like guys aren't boxing out; they're just assuming JV or somebody's going to get a rebound, and then they're leaking out. They're just trying to run, or if they're still down there, they half-ass box out. They kind of watch the ball fall. They don't attack it. It just seems like they're not thinking to rebound. You know what I mean? It's like it's not ingrained in their brain. They don't realize they need to attack the ball.
No, you can see like when we play other teams, like their wings are coming flying in for rebounds, stuff like that. And we got JV down there just working hard as shit to get a board. You know what I mean? Like he's a great rebounder, but he's working so hard. It's always like him versus 2 or 3 people.
Poor guy. And he's always throwing his arms
around. And then
all
I'm sure he doesn't get on Twitter, but if he did, all he would see is people wanting to trade him. Like
get the fuck out of here. People that want to trade Jonas don't realize what we had before him. Okay, let's go back a few. We could take Steven Adams back. I guarantee you won't want him.
He's a good rebounder.
He is.
For what it's worth.
He's not going to do anything else.
He ain't dropping 8 threes or whatever it was in a game. That's for damn sure.
He damn sure ain't doing that. He'll give you some of the same defense, maybe a little better defense occasionally. Not to harp on Steven Adams, but even going back before that, you go to Favors, you go to who was here before Favors? Emeka Okafor. I don't remember who the hell our centers were.
You had Boogie. You had Boogie and AD for a stint, but
true.
That was about it.
I'm talking, yeah. It was an anomaly.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think I bet you if you look at the numbers like you're saying on like in every area of rebounding, we're probably one of the better teams. I mean, you don't end up being where we're at in our rankings, being a bad team in like any aspect. You know what I mean? So we're probably a decent rebounding team overall, but I think it's like I said, I feel like it's on the defensive end. 2 things that I've noticed, like for us defensively, is we don't get defensive rebounds, or at least it feels that way. And then I don't think there's a team in the league that leaves more people open from 3, wide open than us. Like that's the most frustrating thing on earth. It feels like people are getting wide open threes against us, and then they don't miss. That's what happens with the Jazz. We asked what happens when we play the Jazz. That's what happens when we play the Jazz.
Man, the Jazz are just long, to be honest. Like they give us fits. They match up well against us, and we don't defend them well.
I caught flack for saying they'd give us hell in the playoffs. Did you see that?
I did, but I mean, you're not wrong. Like the proof is in the pudding. Look at the way.
I know not to be cocky. I know I'm not wrong. Like we haven't beat them.
Now, granted, we haven't played them with a fully healthy roster ever.
Of course,
but like we haven't played anybody with a fully healthy. Well, maybe we played like one team. What was like the first game of the year? And that was it. I don't think we've had a fully healthy roster, but like 1 or 2 games the whole year. Yeah. That's the numbers I'd like to see.
Yeah.
On top of that, you did bring up an interesting point. I was curious as to like if we could find it. I'm not good at looking up these stats, like the advanced stats. I see like guys like Schmidt and like other guys, like some guys at Boot Crew are really good at finding a lot of those advanced stats. I would really want to know like second chance points, like how many second chance points we're giving up off of offensive rebounds to the other team. Like we're not getting defensive rebounds. I think that's something that would possibly speak to it. Like if I had to bet, and I'm not a betting man because I lose at that shit. If I had to bet, I would say it's not great. Um, but I don't know. It's just the eye test. It sucks. Like it
Yeah,
sucks seeing them crash the boards and us not box out and them getting
right.
rebound after rebound after rebound.
Yeah. With that being said, though, we're still top 2 in the West.
Oh yeah, I'm just
That's
bitching.
it. Yeah. So it's I don't know. So you wanna talk about what I mentioned beforehand about the Pels?
Yeah, go for it.
So well, you said you didn't watch too much of the how you haven't seen much of the losing streak, right? You said you've been kind of
Yeah. No, I was out of town a good bit. I watched a little bit here and there, but I wasn't able to actually pay attention or rewatch anything.
so a big talking point was I mean, I know you're always on Twitter, so I know you've seen it. Um, you actually tweeted about it. Is lineup changes.
Yeah.
Now, let's preface it by saying I'm sure it's more of a prisoner of the moment thing. We lost 4 straight, so everybody's looking for what needs to be changed. You know what I mean? But I do think there is some validity to it. And you and I have we just started talking about maybe CJ's the one who needs to come off the bench. But
Right.
then people start talking, and I'm reading, and I'm. What do you think about her
Yeah,
moving
I
to the bench, replacing Herb with Dyson?
it feels blasphemous, right? Because like I love what he gave us last year, but you can't if I'm speaking logically, which I like to do, I like to make logical decisions. Um, I think the things that were put on Twitter recently are like make a good point, right? Like a lot of the final plays that were shared down the stretch where they're basically just like leaving Herb and building a wall against Zion, and Herb's not knocking down his shots. Um, it sucks. Do I want to change the lineup right now? I don't know if like Dyson's necessarily going to hit those shots either. Like
He
maybe.
he doesn't see the bit. So what I said was, if you take Herb out and put Dyson in, defensively, you don't lose anything. You may even get slightly better because Dyson is. I mean, he's there. He's there. What and what, you know.
Yeah,
So, but offensively, I think Herb's best like to the basket game, driving to the basket game is decent. But Dyson, I mean, Dyson's a point guard,
right.
so he's just better at that aspect of it. He's a better passer than Herb is, which is not. This isn't knocks on Herb. That's not what his position is. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
And and it feels like when Dyson get open looks, more times than not, he knocks them down. Like he's not. I'm sure he's not shooting 50% from three, but I think it's like mid 30s, low 40s from
Yeah,
three, which is gotta be. I'm not. I haven't seen Herb's numbers, but I know it's not that.
it's. I think Herb's.
Yeah.
I think Herb's shooting like 32% or something like that, if I recall.
Yes. So it's like I don't. I don't know. Maybe it's if you put Dyson in that role and he gets and you like extrapolate his minutes out to Herb's minutes, it kind of evens out offensively. You know what I mean? Like what he if he plays those extended minutes, maybe it's not sustainable what he's doing on offense.
Yeah,
But
I
I don't know. I don't know.
listen. I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting conversation. I think right now it's not pointless. It's not meaningless. But I think that those games you're looking at were down the stretch. Herb was like being counted on to hit some big shots. If you have Bi back in the lineup, like that's not a problem. And Herb's known as a guy that's going to work on those things. Like I don't know if I would necessarily like change the lineup because you went on a skid, but it is alarming
But
to
even in
say the
the
least.
yeah, even in the wins, like we've said, there was like the 7 game win streak. We were hot. Like everybody was hot. But even in some of our wins earlier in the year, like Herb's offense isn't there, which he's not ever going to be a top tier offensive guy. He's, I think, best case scenario for Herb is he's Draymond.
I mean, yes, I'm cool with him being Tony Allen. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Not to take it that far back, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
like, yes, I want him to be Draymond, but come
Like
on.
he's not. If you leave him in the lineup, like I think it's fine. Like you say, when you have your full starters, like I think it's fine. And then you got Dyson running the second unit with Jose and Trey. Like that's great. But I don't know. I feel like there is a chance that putting him in there like takes the starter lineup to the next, like to another level. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's possible. You
And
could tinker with it.
then if you start thinking like, I mean, we're looking at this season right now, but if you start thinking long term, you're not going to keep all these players.
Right.
And if you're going to keep one, I think it's going to be Dyson over Herb.
Do you think the decision is between Dyson and Herb?
Well, we're talking like of the young guys, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not true. I mean, you're keeping Trey
Yeah.
at this point. I mean, he's had a little rough patch, but what his year 1 to year 2 leap is ridiculous. So, I mean, Trey is the one. I think now maybe you can't afford him if he gets to be that good, but I'd imagine you keep in Trey, and then I don't know who else. I mean, you already got Jose for cheap, so he's not going anywhere. Who else would it be between?
No, I mean it. I don't know. I was just presenting the question. If you're
Maybe you can't.
if you're just talking about their games, I mean, obviously, like Dyson's 19, doing the same things, maybe better than Herb, who's what 25, 24.
I have no
He's
idea.
old. He's older.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't
And
know. It's a good
this
good problem
ain't
to
me
have.
trying to get rid of her like
No, no,
at
no.
all. It's just present the idea of, I mean, at some point, like you want to take your lineup to the next level, and that just feels like maybe that's the move. But like we keep saying, we haven't been healthy, so if maybe you wait until you can get a decent stretch of everybody playing healthy and see if that starting five just looks better
Yeah,
before you make any drastic change. Because once you take Herb out of the starting lineup, like you almost can't go back. You know what I
you
mean?
you can, but that's definitely going to mess up some chemistry. Like you're then you start talking like psychologically
Yeah.
impacting these players' games. You know?
And I mean, just because you take him out of the starting lineup doesn't mean you necessarily mess his minutes up. You know what I mean? Like you
No,
might just,
yeah,
maybe it's just a better fit with Dyson in there, is all. It's not, I mean, you could still start Dyson and then have her play more minutes. Like it's not, you know what I mean?
I think the question that we were getting at really was more of like who's closing, right? Because like the problems you were having were down the stretch at the end
Yes.
of the
Yeah.
game when you're looking for that shot, and they're triple teaming Zion and basically just completely disrespecting a guy like Herb. Like, how do you overcome that? Is it
Yeah.
taking him out of the lineup? Is it him getting better? Is it like how do you overcome that? You know?
I, I mean, yeah, when you put it that way, like your starters in a sense don't even matter,
Mm.
right? It's more of your situational lineups that matter. And when you're looking at the closing lineup, I don't know how you can keep Herb in there if he's not hitting the shots because he's getting looks. He's
He's
but
gonna any
but
whoever's somebody's gonna get a look with Zion on
I,
the floor like that at the end of the game. Like somebody's gonna get a clean look.
and just me personally, I trust Dyson to hit the shots more than Herb.
That says a lot. I mean, I'm not saying I don't, right? And I'm not sitting here saying that I respect Herb's 3-point
Yeah.
prowess because it doesn't really exist right now. Um,
No.
but that says a lot, being that Dyson's, a rookie. He's been thrust into some big moments, and he definitely has not looked like a rookie. Um, I don't know. Like, I'm one of those people. Like, you could sway me either way on this topic. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. That's what's weird is if you asked me like this question like last year, hypothetically, I mean, obviously we didn't have Dyson, but like Herb was a solid 3-point shooter. He kind of felt like it was the same as Dyson. Like if he gets a wide open look like that, he was gonna knock it down. And it's just not falling for him right now. So maybe it's a rough patch. And like you're saying, we just ride it out. And maybe if it comes to at the All-Star break, if it's still this bad, like then maybe
Yeah.
you make a change. Hopefully, you can find a way to keep everybody healthy and see if this fucking lineup works together.
Well, that's the problem, right? Like, you can't.
Dude,
Who knows? I think they're fine. I'm still not concerned. Let's move on though. Like now that
yeah.
we're kind of talking basketball, I'm sitting here saying I'm not concerned. Did you see John Morant, his comments about not being worried about anybody in the West?
Yep. Did you see Stephen A's response to it?
I did, but I don't like giving Stephen A credit for much.
Me either. But I do like that.
I do.
Even though it's him, like it's people are mentioning us.
Yeah, no.
Before this year, nobody's ever mentioned, oh, but he forgot the Pels.
Yeah. I'm still listen, and I'm also one of those people that like I hate when people gatekeep. And I don't want to sit here and gatekeep, but like Stephen A of all people, like it's like he's one of the main people that just used to dog the shit out of the Pelicans. Like I don't and I listen, I know he's there to say wild shit, and that's how he gets his money. I don't know, man. It just feels nasty. I don't
Yep.
like it.
So do you have a problem with Josh saying that?
Yeah, I think there's multiple teams in the West he should be worried about, not just the Pelicans.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with you, but like if Brandon Ingram got up there and was like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
hell no.
we're the
Yeah.
best team in the West,"
No.
like all I'm worried about is the Celtics. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. Like I don't have a problem with him thinking, like, yeah, we're the best team in the West. They're the one
Yeah.
seed, right? Were they the one seed right now?
I think they weren't. I thought they were the two. I don't know.
I thought they jumped this. I don't remember. It's
I think they did. But
everybody's like within 1 or 2 games of each other right
yeah,
now,
yeah.
from like
We were
1 all the
aging
way
it
to
out.
9.
Yeah, I
But
remember that.
yeah, I have no problem with him saying that. I mean, he could say what he wants. All he's got to do is look at his record against BI, and and he should be worried. But
I mean, listen, they blew us the fuck out the last time they played us too. So he's probably looking at that game like, oh yeah, we got their number. I ain't worried about them. So I get it.
we
And
also didn't we beat them without Zion?
we did. We did. They're second right now. We're third. The Nuggets are in first. Now technically
Nuggets.
them and the Nuggets have the same record, but whatever.
Although to be fair, I don't think either one of us has had a full lineup when we've played each other.
No, I don't think so.
Because I want to say Jaren Jackson was out for them.
We've been so eerily similar in general.
Yeah, that's what I saw somebody post an article today about like Schmidt. I think Schmidt shared it, maybe. I don't know. Just like the Pelicans, I think it was David Fisher actually. Pelicans and Memphis are like breaking. So like the worst teams in the league play their rookies and second year players more than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
I saw that.
Yeah, and it's like the two teams that are like the exception to the rule are us and Memphis, and we're kind of like aging together and just like growing on the same path, which is cool because you could definitely see like for the foreseeable future like that becoming a rivalry. Like if 3 years from now it was like the second time the Grizzlies and Pels had met in the Western Conference Finals, you'd be like, all right,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
it's one of those things you kind of alluded to it earlier too. I think it's going to come down to like who keeps their team together, right? Like, do you pull a OKC and kind of trade away a piece? You don't want to pay everybody, you know. You got to pick the right guys to keep together. So who's able to do that, and just who's able to be the Golden State Warriors? You know,
the one advantage we have is we have a bunch of things we can cash in without giving up major key players. So like we have draft picks for days, and we could give up some role players to get another big piece, whereas they would have to give up one of their big time players to get somebody.
Yeah,
because they don't have I mean, they got their own draft picks. You could trade as many of your own draft picks as you want.
Yeah, don't tell the Lakers that.
Right. No, they did that.
No.